Hello everybody and welcome. I am going to make a grapevine wreath today using this sign. And we've got some little birds here we're going to put on there. We've got our ficus and we've got some 60919 filler flowers. And our ribbons that we're going to use for our bow is a 2.5 inch with the blue bird on it that matches the sign. We also have this really pretty, they look like hydrangeas. We have this real pretty pink 1.5 inch floral embossed ribbon, and then we have the baby blue, light blue to match as well. So we're going to use those to create a bow with. And then I have some, what do you call it? Before I forget, eucalyptus. I couldn't remember the name. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on our wreath. What we're going to do is we're going to use an 18 inch round grapevine, excuse me. And then our ficus. Now, the last time I made one like this, I made the bluebird sign. There's another sign like this that has the bluebirds on it. And the last time I used it, I used just the blue ficus in it, and it just doesn't look right to me. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use regular ficus, and I'm going to use pops of the lavender in there to go with it and bring out the colors in the sign, instead of just using all of the lavender colors. So we'll pop some of that in there for some contrast there. I'm going to cut this off here. So we have 4 stems of ficus here. I probably won't use all 4. I might use 3. But we're going to cut these up. So I want the long one here in the center. They come with the 3 arms. So I want the long one in the center. I don't have to cut them that long. And then I'm going to cut the side ones off. And I'm going to do that for these 2, and then we'll cut the other one up as we need it. I'll set that over here. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to take and straighten out these, because they have them bent. I want them straight, because I don't know which way they're going to go just yet. Those are the 2 long ones, and these are the side ones. Alright, so we're going to find, I've already cleaned my grapevine, we're going to find the best side. I want to see which one lays flatter, and it's the other side. And I also want to make sure that the back side, that I've made sure that nothing is protruding out too much to where it's going to damage the customer's door. I do put a disclaimer on my site that says this is a natural wood. It can rub on the door, it can scratch your door, and it can leave marks. I'm not responsible for that, but I just want them to know, because it is a natural product. It's wood. It's gonna rub on the door. So I always make sure to give them that little disclosure. So I want to make sure that anything poking out the back is not going to do any kind of damage. And then there's our good side that we're going to use for the wreath. So let me see which side's the better side. I want the better side to show, and I will cover up, like this one's a little thinner side over here than this one. I want this one to show, and this is going to be where I put all of my stuff, which I tend to use the left side of the frame anyway. So that works out. We could just spin it around if need be, but again, I want to use the left side. So I'm going to do it on my left. Alright, I'm going to take the first 2 long ones, and I'm going to bend them to go with the curve of my grapevine here. Like this. And I want it to cover probably, I think I'm going to go over the top, all the way to over the top here. So it's going to cover up that, and we're going to come down in like a C shape right here. So this is the side that'll be exposed, and we'll have our sign over here. So our sign will cover part of that. So we want that wider side for that also. So maybe I'll leave, because I want some of the grapevine to show. Maybe I'll leave. I won't go all the way over. We'll go right there. All right, so we're going to go right in here. I'm going to put some glue on here. And I'm going to go right in here. And I'm going to push that in. And I want to make sure I don't go through the back. And then if you want that to stay in a certain place, just take a zip tie, one of these small zip ties, and you can anchor that in. I think I'm going to anchor it right here because there's a big piece of the grapevine, one of the binders, and we'll zip tie it to that. And then the zip tie will be covered up by all of our other florals. I don't want it to be laying flat. I want it to lift. So there we go. There's one. Now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite end. I'm going to curve it in, and I'm going to go probably about the same distance, but I'm going to go up underneath these binders and put it right here, like that. All right, so we don't need it that long, but I'm going to leave it anyway just because there's really no need to cut it. So I'm going to push these down so that I can get up underneath the binders, and I'm going to push that into my grapevine. Again, bend it. And then I'm going to zip tie this one right here to this other bind piece. You know, they have a piece of wood bind or the vine going around it, a thicker one that binds your whole grapevine together. And if you take that off, you can kind of unravel your grapevine as well. But we're not doing that. I do have a bunch down here where I've done that, taken them off other wreaths, and I save them so that I can use them in other wreaths, which we may do that today with this one. I might put the branches from there on here and put the birds on it. All right, so there's our first two. All right, now we're going to take these pieces. So these are we've only used 2 of the ficus so far. And I'm going to cut these down a little bit further, cutting them in half. And I'm going to use it because there's a big gap right in here in between. I'm going to put this right here to fill in and make it look fuller. Right there. Once that glue dries, it'll stay. It's not going to go anywhere. And then I'm going to do the same thing here because you can see we can see a lot of the stem here. Let me zoom in for you guys. I forgot about that. So you can see a lot of the stem right here, and I want to cover some of that up. All right, we filled in those 2 spots. Now we're going to use these other 3 pieces. And I want to make some height and some length. So I want to go straight down almost with this one. So we're going to come out like this. Just need to find a place for it to go. There, like that, I think. So it's just going to elongate it and give it a little length. All right, so we're going to put this one in here, and we're going to go right up in this area and bring that down. And then I'm going to do the same with this other piece, and we're going to go up top here and do that. And I want it to come like right around here. Right in there. We're going to bend it just a little. so we've added that height to that. All right, we've got one more here. Let me see. Don't think I want it there. I'm going to build out on the side here, I think. So we're going to take this one and we're going to go a little bit farther up and poke that in there. That'll bring it out to the side. So I'm going to go probably right here, weave this in between all those grapevine pieces. Now we'll take our third piece. I'm going to clip this one in half at the top because we don't need a full piece there. Alright, so we're using 3 pieces of the green ficus. And I might cut one of these down a little further. We'll save that one. Alright, and then this one, we're going to come over here. Maybe we'll go here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to come up top here. I'm going to cut this down a little more. I don't think I need this little piece right here, though. We're going to go right in here and weave that in at an angle. There we go. Make that fuller there. And I'm trying to see which one I want to use next. I want to come over here. Don't need it that long. And I want to bring this out around the side. So I'm going to weave this in there. So I'm just putting some fillers over here at the side to fill this area in. Stick my finger in the glue. Alright, and then we have one more piece right here, and I'm going to put this one, it doesn't need to be that long, and I'm going to put this one right in the center. Right there. So that gives us that fullness here. Now we can take these little pieces and we can poke them in wherever we need to fill them in. So like if we have a little hole here or there. But we also have our lavender that we're going to use, so I don't want to fill it in too much with all the ficus, green ficus. This is the variegated ficus too. So like right here I see a little spot where I can add some of this. So I'm going to take my purple ficus or my lavender ficus. Some of this has already been cut because we used some in a different project. And these are the last couple pieces I had. So I'm going to cut these down because we don't want big pieces. And these have little notches in the stems that give you cut guides. And we'll use, I might use that one like that size. So here's our full piece. Again, it's got the 3 stems. So we're going to cut these off. Don't need it that long, so we'll cut it here. And I think I'm going to cut this one there. Cutting these little nubs off because we don't need them. Might leave that one. There's another big one. Cut this one in half. And the same with these. Straighten out these stems. We don't need them to be bent because we want to bend them how we want. We'll leave that one whole, and then these are smaller pieces. All right, so now we're going to take these and we're going to tuck them in between our other ficus. So like this one here, I'm going to take and I'm going to put it like right here where I have a gap. Probably don't need the stem that long. Cut it down some more. I'm going to hold my leaves so I don't get them in the glue. And I'm going to go right here in that hole. And now we have that pop of purple or lavender color. Don't want that way, like that. I'm going to put another one up top here, but I think I'm going to use this piece. And I'm just going to work these in different places. Like that. I think that looks a lot better than having just the lavender ficus in there. And if you need to cut them down more, you can. This one right here. It really just depends on how much of that you want to see. So we're going to take this one and we're going to go down here at the bottom. We're going to put this in here. Like that. Cut this one down some more. I'll lift up these leaves because I don't want to glue them there like that. And I want a small one like right in here. That. I might put this one over here on this side to even it out. The stem on that one was cut too short, so I'm just going to glue it like this. There we go. And those will stand up. And now I want to put one over here on the side to blend it in with that. We're going to put one right here. And I want one more. I'm going to use this one. Cut it down. So you can take your other leaves and you can incorporate them all in so that they're all mixed in and it just doesn't look like the purple's laying on top of the green. We want to incorporate it all. Get them all intertwined together and mingled. Pull some of these green up. Like that. All right. We'll save those pieces to fill in and add them to our green over here. All right, so here's what we've got so far. Let me open this back up. So there we go. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and make our bow to put in there first. Going to use our Easy Bow Maker. This is the Easy Bow Stow and Go. You can find those in my shop at wreathdecorbydawn.com or going to my Etsy shop. The link will be in the description. All right, so the first one we're going to use, I think, is the I want the bird on top, I think. So we're going to use this one first. I want the birds to stand out. Let me zoom in here so you can see the bow maker better. Alright, so this is a 2.5 inch. The birds are also a 2.5 inch. And then we have our 1.5 of the other two. Alright, so we're going to go with our hydrangea first. This has got the real pretty pink. It's got real pretty edging on it and the green leaves. And I want my tail to be about 20 inches long, I guess. Yeah, about 20 inches long. We can always cut it if we need to, but I think it'll be alright. Alright, we're going to do a 6-inch loop. And I'm going to do 2 of these on each side. So we're twisting it in the middle so that we can form our loops. And we want to make sure our loops are the same size. And I don't think I'm going to do 2 tails, so I think I'll cut that one off up top here at the same size as my loops. So I'm going to keep them all about the same. And we'll just have one tail hanging down so there won't be so much ribbon covering everything. Real pretty ribbon. Alright, now I'm going to go in with my blue because I want to break that up with my birds. And I'll do 1 loop on each side with the blue, but I'm going to make my tail the same length, 20 inches. And these loops will be about 5.5 because I want to be able to see the ribbon below. So we'll go down 1/2 inch on each one. And again, we'll cut that off the same size as our loop. And we might use that blue again, we'll see. Now we want to use our birds. Now the birds are all going in the same direction, so I want to make sure that my tail is going with the birds all going in the same direction. So they are. So we're going to twist. And now we're going to do 2 loops on each side with this one. And these are going to be at 5 inches. Alright, so there's our 2 on each side for a total of 4 loops. Scrunch that down. We're going to again cut that at the same length. I do them a little bit longer because we're going to end up dovetailing them. And then I'm going to show you, after we get everything done, let me get these all fluffed out. See how the birds are going in different directions now? This one, the birds are going to end up being upside down if you're looking at the bow head on. So those are upside down. We're just going to grab that loop, that whole loop, and we're going to give it a twist. Now the birds are facing down. So all we're doing is putting the underside up on top. Once you zip tie it, it'll stay in place. So I want to get everything unfolded and kinked from here in the center so that my ribbons are sitting right. Put that one up top. So same thing on this side. The birds are going that direction. I need to grab that ribbon right here at the base, and I'm going to turn it. Now my birds are all facing me and going in the right direction, so none of them are upside down. Now if it doesn't bother you that they're upside down, just leave them. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I do leave them, other times I don't. But I'm just doing that for demonstration so you guys can see how to fix that if you're making a wreath. It's easier than cutting the ribbon and trying to make it all that way. If you make them by hand, you can do it by hand and make them so that they go in the right direction. I can't make bows by hand. No shame in my game. No, not sorry for that. So I'd rather use a bow maker. It's just easier. Plus I don't think I could hold all the ribbon in my hands anyway. Alright, again, pink on top. 20-inch tail, and I think I'm going to do 1 loop on each side with this one and then a center loop. So this one will end up being about 4 inches, and then we'll put a center loop in right there. I'm going to twist one more time, and then my center loop is going to be about 3 inches. I'll go down about a whole inch, and then we're going to cut this up here, so it's I'm going to bring that over here now, so we have a tail over here. We've already got all these tails over here. We don't need another one, so we'll put this tail over here and dovetail that. But that gives us our center loop. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. And there's our bow. With our tails, we'll put those so that they're facing down once we get our zip tie on. Alright, so I'm going to use a long zip tie to put this on the wreath and to zip tie the bow to keep everything in place. I want to go up underneath everything here on the one side. Pull my zip tie up. Get it cinched. Pull it down. Give it a little tight, not too tight, just enough to hold everything in place. I'm going to grab one side of the bow, all of it in one hand, and I'm going to lift. And then there's a little notch here where these were in the pegs. We're going to put that zip tie in that little notch, making sure that none of our ribbons move. Get that locking part down on the bottom side. Cinch it a little more, keep it tight so it doesn't come undone. And now we're going to put our other zip tie in underneath, and that's what we'll use to attach it to our wreath. So I'm going to get this a little tighter, and I'm going to use these for handles to hold my bow while I fluff it. So we're going to take and make sure all of our ribbons are unkinked, they're not scrunched, and we're going to fluff our bow out. This way it's the bow or the zip tie is loose enough that we can maneuver any of them that we need to get them in place. So I'm going to bring this one down here. We're going to leave that up there, leave that one up there. And we're going to pull this a little more. This loop looks a little bigger than that one. So we're going to fluff them out, put this up top. This tail comes down. All of our tails need to be front and center. Here's our center loop, and then our two side ones. And then this one up here, and this one will be dovetailed right there. Trying to get them in place. Okay, now I can tighten my zip tie that's holding the bow together, and I want to make sure that it's really tight, so I'm going to use my zip tie tool, give it a couple clicks, and then I'm going to cut it. And now we're left with the two that are going to go on the grapevine. Okay, so I'm going to take this, get this out of the way. Again, that Stow and Go bow maker is in my shop. You'll find it in my Etsy shop. Alright, so our bow's going to go right here. So if we need to take up any space with those other pieces, we'll be able to do it with that to fill in around it so there's no gaps. So I'm going to go kind of high. So here's our center right here. So I'm going to go a little higher so that I can fill in underneath if need be. So I want to go in the center of the grapevine. I'm not going around the outside of the grapevine. I don't want my zip tie to show. So I'm going to go right in here where there's a gap. And I'm putting my zip tie right through the grapevine, maneuvering it through here so that I get a couple good chunks. That way if anything breaks, it will still hold on. And then I'm going to grab the other side and I'm going to get that locking part up underneath the bow. I want it up under the bow so I don't have to worry about hiding it later. So we're going to give that a couple clicks with our tool. And that tightens it around that grapevine and cuts that off. And now we have our bow. So now we're going to get everything back in place. Spread these out. Now we're going to cut these down. Scissors, what did I do with them? Oh, they're underneath here. Alright, so I want the tails that are going up to be about the same size as the ribbons, so I'm not going to cut them too short. Okay, now we've got all those ribbons in place. Now we can deal with our tails. Now the tails, I want these long, so I'm not going to cut them right now. I'll wait, and we might cinch them together like this and create a little waterfall look with them, or drape. Move and make sure my bow is going in the right direction before I do that. There we go. So then we can take these and we can drape them. So I got all four here. Now you can separate them and do 2 and 2 like this if you want. It'll just give it a little bit so that you can see them all. So I'm going to cinch this right here like that, and I'm going to maneuver it over here to the side like this so that you can see all those ribbons. I'm going to zip tie here, and again I'm going to go around the thicker parts of the grapevine. I might do it right here because there's a binder right there. I don't want to grab my stems from my ficus because that'll just pull my ficus down, and I want the ficus standing up. I don't want it to look all flat. Alright, let's get this one in here. right there. So there's that one. It has just a little bit of a lift to it. And then we can do the same with this one. Cinch it right here. And then we can go like right up here underneath this one. And then look at that and see if I like that. It's okay. It's not horrible. Alright, let's put another zip tie in here. We got some stems and some grapevine underneath here. We're going to go around that. I want it to come out right here though. Come on. There it goes. I was going to say I have to get my pliers out, but no. I got it. I got it. Alright, so we're going to grab that. Let's make sure it's as long as we want it to be. I don't want it to be too much looser than the other one. So we can tighten that up just a tad right there. And now we can cinch this down. Alright, once we get that done, cut it off, and we'll use our fillers and our other extra pieces to cover up those spots where we zip tied them down. Okay, that's what we've got so far. I know it looks a little odd, but we're going to fill it in right now. Alright, so I have this pink 60919, and I have this, alright, this one is a little bit more blue, and it has the white flowers and light blue. Very light blue, pale blue. You can barely tell it's blue. Yeah, I think that'll look better. Alright, so we're going to use this one. So these come in sections. You can tell when you buy them or when you get them. There's sections right here. There's stems. We're going to pull these apart in the 3 sections. And it's just paper around it, so you can pull that right off of this main stem. And then we're going to toss that. So we'll leave those 3 like that for a second. And now we're going to do the same thing with the blue. Get those 3 stems. Pull them off. There we go. And then what we're going to do with these is we're going to take them, move these pieces out of the way. We're going to take these and we're going to break them down into 2 more pieces. So I want to get an even amount of everything on the stems. Now they come with these 2, I don't know why they're always backwards, 2 ficus, or eucalyptus, sorry, and some green leaves, and then the little pit balls, and this little fuzzy piece, and then the flowers. So I can't get flowers on both pieces, so we're going to divvy it up between that and the blue pieces. And I want this green leaf on that side. So it's got these 2 green leaves. So I'm just going to pull it apart right there and separate it. If I can get them to come apart. Sometimes it takes a little bit. And then these thin wires that are here already, I want to wrap one around that whole bunch. And that just makes, I mean, that paper's still holding it together, but I want to make sure that if that paper were to come off, or if I put it in my glue and the paper disintegrates, then there's still something holding this bunch together. So I want to do that. And then we will cut our stems down as we go. So there's one. See, this one, the paper is coming off. So we're going to leave it all together like this. Put all of our pieces in place. And then I'm going to take one of the thin wires right here, and we're going to wrap it And that's going to hold it all together, just like that. So now those pieces aren't going anywhere. And we're going to get these around to the front, right here. So that way our fern and our eucalyptus can be seen the correct direction. And then I'm just going to twist the rest of these wires together and set that to the side, and then I'm going to do that with the rest of these pieces. Okay, now that I have all those cut up and separated, we've got a total of 6 pieces now of each. Now each one of these colors has these little twigs attached to them. I have extras over here, so I can use some extras to put in, but you can just take these and kind of wrap them around your finger and give them the little character or whatever. Or you can take them out. Sometimes I take them out, but each color will have at least one. So we'll deal with those once we get them in. And like I said, I have some extra. So I'm going to put the 2 with the twigs at the top, so I know those are the twigs, so I don't put them like next to each other. And then I'm going to separate my colors here. And I want the fuller ones. So some of these only have a little bit on them, like these 2. These are fuller. That one's a little bit fuller. And that one. So we got an even amount here. All right, and then we're going to start filling these in. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to take my fuller ones. And I'm going to put these down in here like this so that they stick out, and we're going to alternate the colors. So I don't need it that long. I'm going to cut these down. Now these got like 4 or 5 stems all in one. So I want to make sure that when I glue, I get enough glue on there to hold those together so that when I put it in the grapevine, they're not going to come apart and separate. Alright, so this first one is going to go right in here. I see a gap right there for it. Put some glue on there. And we're going to go right down in here. Now I want to make sure I go at an angle so I'm not going through my grapevine. And then I want to lift a little bit because I don't want them laying flat. See that right there? So we've got our first one there. This one doesn't have a fern on it, so I'm going to pick a blue that has a fern on it. And I'm going to go right in here where I see another gap. Spreading all that out, lifting it, getting everything centered like that. Use this up and get rid of it. I don't want any of these extra pieces laying around, so I'm just going to take this and put it in this spot right there, cover up that opening. There we go. Got one piece left of that. We're going to put our sign on first. We'll put our birds in and then our eucalyptus. So the sign comes with a little hanger on the back of it, a rope hanger, and I take that off, cut it off. I couldn't get the staples out. They were too far down. So I got the one side out, but we're going to use this stapler. I use the brown pipe cleaners because I want it to not be seen on here. So let me see about where I want my sign to go so I know where to put my... Yeah, we're just going to go top and bottom. Okay. It's usually the way it goes, but I want to make sure. So we're just going to go straight to the top. I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to just go a couple of inches. It's about 2 fingertips from the bottom. Right in the center. And I'm using 1/4 inch staples. And the sign is a 1/4 inch, so it's not going to go through. And then I'm going to give it a twist. You can put glue on it if you want to. I don't do that. Very, very rarely do you need to, but just in case. I mean, I'm putting 3 staples in, so it's going to hold. twist, and then no staples through the front. I'm going to take this, make sure my sign is centered with my bow straight, right there. And I'm going to take my weaving needle. I have a short one for these because my ties are not that long, so a longer needle would be harder to get it to go on there. So I'm going to use my short one. I carry these in both sizes in my shop, and the link will be in the description. And I'm going to do one pipe cleaner at a time. I'm going to go down through the center of the grapevine, because I don't want both pipe cleaners together. I want them to wrap around. Whoops, I twisted that. Let me fix this. There we go. So that one's going to come right here. Yep, just like that. And then this one on this side will go on the opposite side of this binder. So that way they're not in the same hole, and I can tie them around the grapevine. So see, they come out the back here. So let me get that laying flat. All right, so I'm going to take and I'm going to twist these two pipe cleaners together once or twice just to hold it in place while I put the rest of the sign on, and then we'll fix it. All right, now this bottom part I'm going to take and do the same thing. So there we go. So now on the back, and I'm going to smash my bow, I know. So on the back I'm going to twist it a couple more times just to give it enough to hold it. And then I'm going to cut off that pipe cleaner, and I'm going to tuck it into the grapevine, right down in there. Same thing over here. All right, so now we have these twigs that I was talking about. We got one up top here, and it's got 4 little branches on it. I'm going to take my finger. You can use a dowel, but I'm just going to take my finger and wrap it around a couple times and give it a little curl. Now this one's got the thicker branch right here at the end, and then the 2 thinner ones coming out. I'm going to use that thicker one, and I'm going to put a bird on there. We don't have any of this color. They're a little bit more of the navy color, but we also have the green. So I might use the green and pull out some of the green in the wreath. We'll see. I don't have any, well, I do have pink. I can use pink. I was thinking there wasn't any pink, but there is. So let's try a pink one first. Now they come with these really long stems on them, and you can use that to either poke it in and glue it to the grapevine. You know, I just fold the end of it to give it a little thickness. Or you can take that wire and you can wrap it around right here where the bird's going to sit. But I'm going to, because these are not very sturdy in here, I'm going to take a dab of glue and I'm going to put it back inside, right in that same hole. And I'm going to let that glue set for a second. So you can take this and you can wrap it around here. You could even use regular floral wire to do it too. And then your little bird's going to sit right up here on this little perch. So there, like that. So we have our little bird sitting right here on the perch. Like I said, you can bend that anyway. So if it's on your door and you want it sitting up top like that, then you can do that. So there's one pink bird. Let's try another one, a blue one like right in here. You don't have to put them on the stems. I'm going to go with the bird, or a green, I think. What you can do instead of doing that, take this wire. It's a very thick wire. It's probably a 22 gauge wire. And then I'm going to bend it in half. You could try and pick these as well, but it's really not going to pick real well that way. So I'm just giving it a little bit of thickness at the bottom with a little loop on it, something for it to grab into the grapevine with. And I'm going to go right about here with it. I want the bird facing the right direction. And I'm going to go like right in here. So might bend that one more time. Right there. And we'll put some glue on it. And we'll stick this right down in here. If you get it right in between, it should stay. Now if you wanted to take some of these twigs, you can take these other ones off and just use the thick one and put the bird on the end of it. You can do that. So we could take these off here. I'll just cut them off. We don't need the stem that long anyway. And if you don't want these two pieces, you don't have to use them, but I'm going to leave them on there for now. And again, we'll just wrap them around our finger like this. And then we can take our other bird. We'll get another pink one. All right, we don't need the tag. And then I'm going to take my bird and set it on there, and I'm going to take its wire and I'm going to wrap it around like that. And now we can push our twigs back up right there, and now we can put this down in our wreath like here if we wanted. Let's see. I think I'm going to push this one this direction. I want the bird sitting up so you see it when it's hanging on the door. I don't want the bird upside down or anything like that. So I'm going to go right in the center right here. I see an opening. I'm going to curl this. Let me cut some of it off first. And I'm going to curl it to give it some what do you call it? Width. And I'm going to put this down in that glue, or in that spot. So let me get my things out of the way here. And I want to go right here. Let me see if I can get it to, there it goes, right there. So I want it sitting up, and I want to bend it a little bit so that when the wreath is laying flat on the door, it can still be seen right there, like that. And I'm going to put this eucalyptus in here to fill in these holes. So I have a hole right here I want to fill. So I want to fill up those gaps. Okay, and then we'll be done. Alright, so we've got 2, 4, 6 pieces of eucalyptus here. These do not need to be long at all, so I'm going to cut them down all the way to that first notch. Probably a little more, and then I can put it right in here. Let me see if I can get this flower back up. It looks like it got smushed down. So I'm going to put this right in here. Trying to find a hole for it right there. Right there. So now we've got that eucalyptus sitting right there. That fills that hole. And I think I'm going to fill one in underneath this first loop or drape, waterfall, whatever you want to call it, because I can see the bottom of the grapevine and all the glue in that where I attached everything. So I want to put this in here to take up that space so you don't see all that mess. There we go. We're going to intertwine it together. Let's get the, there we go, like that. Let's get the loops back in place. And make sure I covered all my spots. I'm going to put one right up here. fill in these little holes there where we can see the grapevine underneath with the glue and stuff. We don't want to see that. We don't want to look at that. It's called covering your mechanics. You want to cover it up. Customers don't want to see it. Right in here. Get in there, please. There we go. So it's just kind of blends in with everything. I don't think we need any more at the bottom. Got that one up there, and then I'm going to put one over here on the outside where I can see a spot. Right back here behind everything, there's an open space. There we go. And I've got one more of these, so let me see if I see anything else before we end. Might go right here on top in this space. I don't know if I want that much sticking out though. Might be better just to cover it up with the fern or the ficus. Let's try that instead. I'm going to cut a piece of the ficus off. Don't need it to be that long. I want it really short because I don't want it sticking out, and I just want to cover up right here where you can where I zip tied that ribbon down. Right down in there. I think we got it there. Maybe I'll put this one on the back side to help lift up my bow a little bit. Right there. That'll help lift those loops up a little bit. So you can see the full wreath. I see a lot of green up in here, right here. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to add some purple right in here. When I looked on the camera, I could see a lot of green right here. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put some purple right in here. Get my leaves so they don't get in the glue. And we're going to go right in here. Right there. So let's move this where we need it. Right there. Got one more. And we're going to go right here. Right there. That breaks up that green. Now we've got some more purple over here. Here we go. There we go. Alright, so that should do it. And I will hang it up, take a look at it, and see if I need to fill in anything else. But it looks pretty good right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out our Crafting in the Carolinas page. It talks about our upcoming wreath retreat that we're having, our in-person wreath retreat that we're having in September in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then we also have our design group, which is on the same website. You can get all the information there. It's Susan and myself, and we go live twice a week and teach you how to make different wreaths and home decor. So you can join that. It's an exclusive group. You get discounts, you get tutorials, you get live tutorials, you get bonus tutorials, and you get a Q&A every month to ask any questions about just about anything, whatever you want to ask questions about. So check out craftinginthecarolinas.com. You'll find all the information on there. I will put it in the description for you, and I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for hanging out with me.